I know we've all been spending a ton of time at home right now, so today I'm going to teach you how to make one of my favorite dishes with a very underrated vegetable, cauliflower. So I've washed my cauliflower and now it's time to cut it. So it's actually not that hard. So what we're going to do is that first we're going to cut off these big green leaves. So that because we don't really want those. So we're just going to place those to the side. And then we're also going to cut off the bottom of the stalk. So we're going to take this and we're just going to cut these off because nobody wants to eat those. So then after we do that, we're just going to trim it down just a tiny bit. And then next, we're going to start cutting off the florets. So we're just going to go like close to the main stalk and we're just going to go like this. So we're just going to take those and we're going to set them aside. So once you've cut off all of those, I'll show you how to cut the florets. So you're just going to basically cut them down into bite-sized pieces like this and like this. So just when you think they're a good size like this. And so you do that with the whole cauliflower and then we're ready for the next step. So now we're going to be cutting our onions. As you can see, I've already started cutting my red onion, and I'm using red onions because they add a pop of color and are delicious. And so I've taken my onion and I've cut it in half and cut it in quarters. And then I've cut those quarters in half. So then you're going to take this quarter and you're just going to kind of cut it into chunks because it's going to be with the cauliflower and they're both kind of chunky, which will take the same amount of time. You're going to put it in the bowl and then they should look kind of like this, nice and chunky, so they'll cook it at the same time. So the next step is probably my favorite step, and so we're just going to mix everything together, and that's the best part about this dish because it's just so simple, and really once you mix everything together and roast it, it's practically done. So what we're going to do is we have our bowl of cauliflower and we have our bowl of onions. We have about 2 cloves of minced garlic. We have about a teaspoon of turmeric, which adds like a nice exotic flavor. We have our salt. We have about a teaspoon of paprika, which adds a little bit of heat, but not too much, and of course olive oil. So what we're going to do is that we're going to combine our cauliflower and onions. We're going to add our minced garlic. There we go. We're going to add our spices. So turmeric and paprika. And of course our salt. And then we're also going to add last our olive oil. And now to mix it, we're going to use our hands, and that's why I said in the beginning to wash your hands, because this is actually my favorite part. We're just going to mix it all together so it's nice and combined. And so you want everything to coat everything. And so to make sure the cauliflower and onions are nicely coated in all the spices and the olive oil and the garlic. So now I have my baking pan right here, and what we're going to do is that we're going to spread the cauliflower and the onions out on here. So we're going to make it look nice in the pan and make sure everything is touching the pan and so it's spread out so it bakes or it roasts evenly. So we're just going to spread it out like this. And then after this is all spread out, we have our oven preheated at 375, and we're going to pop this in for 15 minutes. We're going to take it out. So I'll flip it around, and then we're going to put it back in for another 15 minutes. So the vegetables are in the oven, and now we have time to make something that goes great with the dish. I love Israeli couscous because it's bigger, and when you toast it before you boil it, it adds so much flavor. Our couscous is nice and toasted, and our 2 1/4 cups of water is coming to a boil. We've also added a pinch of salt to give it some flavor. Now we're going to add the couscous into the boiling water, turn the heat down and cover it and let it cook for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to also stir occasionally. You know when the couscous is finished when it has absorbed all the water, just like this. So now we're going to take it off the heat and let it sit for a second while we check our cauliflower. cauliflower and onions look great and they smell amazing. Now my family eats them just like this all the time, but for you guys, we're gonna make it a little special. To make this dish a little more special, we're gonna add chickpeas. Our chickpeas are ready to go and they're at room temperature. So we're just gonna add them like this. We're just gonna spread them around, and you can add as much as you want. So I'm just gonna add that much. And then we're just gonna carefully mix them around so they're incorporated. And now it's time to plate. We're gonna take a small cup and pack our couscous in. We're gonna set it in the middle of the plate. A little shake to get it out. Then we're gonna take our tongs and we're gonna set some big pieces of cauliflower around the dish, like this. And just keep adding pieces of cauliflower, and you can do it however you want. This is just the way I like to do it. And then you're gonna start adding your onions, and then little by little you can add your chickpeas. And there you are, and then we'll add our finishing touches. So now for our finishing touches, we're gonna add some toasted almonds and some chopped cilantro. We're gonna take our almonds, we're gonna sprinkle them like this on the dish. And then we're gonna add our chopped cilantro. This dish is super fun to make, and also it's a great dish to teach your family while you're at home. I love this dish because you have so much freedom with it. You can add anything you want. You can add broccoli, you can add a different type of grain, your own toppings. But I'm starving, so now I'm gonna go eat.